mentors, which are essentially financial education seminars that we do, and we can go out and talk about them in a bunch of different settings. So like most recently this past Saturday, we did the Saturday Academy at the Hamlin Park School, and we simply came up, we had a room, we set up, and we just talked about banking to some kids, to some adults. Some of them didn't really understand, but we're here just to kind of show this, like, people who look like us can be in these types of, roles and positions, and it's okay to approach a banker, and here's information, here's, resources. So it's always nice.
Back with another podcast of The Future Starts Here. And today, guys, I'm so excited because I have some awesome people with me. But first, I have to show you guys who is my co-host today. It's actually my boss, my supervisor, Aaron Lowinger. Aaron, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's all?
Well, as a longtime podcast listener, first-time podcast participant, I definitely have butterflies. But it's good to be here for sure.
Don't have butterflies. We're going to talk about all things Say Yes here, which is pretty easy, seeing as though you're the communications director at Say Yes Buffalo. But guys, today we're going to get right into it. So we're going to be interviewing two people from one of our favorite banks, which is M&T Bank. So today our guests are India Walker, who is the senior branch manager at M&T, and then we have Elizabeth Ramirez, who is the assistant vice president. At M&T Bank for business banking. How are you guys doing today?
We're doing good. We're very excited to
First
be
time
here.
podcasters too.
Well, you guys look beautiful. We're happy to have you here. So we're gonna get right into it. So India is a Say Yes alum and scholar currently.
Yes.
She's currently in school.
Yep.
Talk to us about what you're in school for.
Yes, so I'm currently going to school for business administration now. It's definitely pivoted a little. When I first started at the bank, I started as a part-time teller while full-time school. So that journey has definitely changed as I've continued to grow and advance throughout, the bank, but it still remained a focus for myself, so.
Yeah, so can you just take us through that, navigate us through that journey, because, you're still currently in school, but you still were able to climb up that ladder. Yes. And, obviously now in today's age, the traditional route is not always the route that everybody goes. Like,
Yes.
They go to school for 4 years and they go straight through. So talk to us how you were able to climb through the ladder while still being in school, but still being seen as valuable enough to be able to move up.
Yeah, so journey was definitely not easy, but I definitely was, blessed to have a lot of people who supported me. But I just had to dig very deep. I started off, like I said, as a part-time teller. So that was kind of just learning, everything in the bank. And then eventually, like, I just kept kind of moving up. I said, you know what, this is what I want. That's what I work towards. That's what I started learning. I always say to my, my employees now, always operate at the level of where you want to be. So that way it just naturally comes, and that's kind of, luckily what's happened to me. So I've been in every role in the branch. Most recently, just been promoted to a senior branch manager.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So I'm kind of capped out at branch level, which is so funny. So I always say, like, M&T is kind of where I grew up. I spent 6 years with the bank. My 6 years is in August.
Wow.
So yeah, I started off at 20, just turned 26, and I've definitely done a non-traditional route. Being in a bank, people spend, 10 plus years in a role. So I definitely kind of shook that up when I started progressing, 1 year and a few months throughout my roles. But I knew I had it in me, and I knew I could do it. And I just focused on, where I wanted to be, and I manifested it. So
Okay, and I love that because we're around the same age, you
Yes.
know. So it's important that we have young people inside of banks because a lot of us, and I'm saying me, I'm saying us,
Yes.
we're just seeing our money go in and go out. That's for me. I didn't learn anything about banking aside from depositing and then taking out. So I love that you're in that space.
Yes.
And recently you were just honored for Business First 30 Under 30
Yes,
as
yes,
one of the
I was.
honorees.
Yes.
So how do you feel
Woo.
about that?
Yeah, so it's still kind of like it's still set and all in, but it was really nice to be recognized for all of my contributions that I had made, you know, professionally to the bank, and then also community. Community is something that, you know, I hold very dearly, being where I come from. I grew up in the west side of Buffalo, east side of Buffalo, and it's always been a goal of mine to create impact no matter what I do, what I touch, because it's so important for us to have these resources and access to this information. So that's a big why for me.
Okay. So, and I like that you mentioned that you guys are doing work in the community because obviously that aligns with our work that we do here at Say Yes, you know, closing the gaps for barriers for inner city students. But now that you said that you're from Buffalo, it actually gets me thinking. So, Elizabeth, I seen that you are not from Buffalo. So, when we hit on the community key, that impact point, talk to us how important it is to come from a different community, but still be able to pour into a community like ours.
That's such a special question. It's the question that I've asked myself before I made the move to Buffalo. So I'm originally born and raised from Brooklyn, New York, and did a lot of my community actually in the nonprofit sector for 7 years before transitioning, going back to school, and then starting at the bank. In my school journey, I could not just be on campus. I had to understand and have a pulse of what was happening in our local community in ways that I can show up. It is a connection point for me to be out, to see people that I recognize. Buffalo is small in that way. You don't necessarily get that from New York City. It's a connection point. It's a way and method to actually grow something and be a part of something that's much bigger. So going to a bank like M&T that is very community focused was a really easy decision for me.
So did you come here for school and just stay, or you came and you left? We
I got locked in. I got locked in.
It's easy to get locked in Buffalo, you know. Good.
I got locked in, and I'm from here.
Good living wages. Actually, you know, I admire New York City, though. I love it. And I'm a big fan of Brooklyn, but I don't know. I think I like Queens better. People maybe against it. But, you know, I like both.
Brooklyn has... You said that on the podcast.
I know, right? They're going to flame me for this, but it's okay. Brooklyn has nice food spots, I will say. They have a lot of nice things, but I don't know. Queens just it reminds me of Buffalo a little bit more. So I think that's why I like it a little bit more.
Yeah, I love Queens. Queens is right next to Brooklyn, so I will let that pass for sure. We're neighbors.
Yes. So talk to us about your role. Like, how did you get to where you are? You know, starting from UB and then staying here. You know, so talk to us about it.
Well, as you can imagine, the pivot from a career to another is really challenging. There's a lot of like unsaid things that you have to go through. The shock of not knowing everything the way you did. I knew my nonprofit org like the back of my hand. Yeah. I could talk to the process. I could talk about the youth that we served. So being in the banking institution, it's how do we start from zero? Honestly, mentors have really played a big part. Being in the university at Buffalo that has already very close ties to M&T Bank, I had access to leaders who brought me in and some of my other like student colleagues to speak about the bank, not just from their role and what they did at the bank, but why. And that really moved me. And from those conversations led into more conversations about opportunities that I can take on. I'm actually part of a development program that in year one, it's banking foundation information. It's a pool of networks to leverage. So in a way, I guess similar to some of the apprenticeship work, I felt supported in making that transition for myself.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's interesting you bring up mentorship and just thinking about India's path as she just described it, coming into M&T Bank. Does it have a strong culture of mentorship in investing in folks who are new to the company and opening doors for them? Is that something that is certainly close to the heart of us at Say Yes Buffalo, and I assume some of the reasons why the partnership between Say Yes Buffalo and M&T Bank has been so fruitful in recent years.
And I can speak directly to that. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I've served as a mentor to incoming Say Yes, students through our apprenticeship programs. I personally managed some as well. So it's definitely an environment that cultivates learning. And again, if you want it, that's what I always say. If you want it, yes, I will help you. I will give you resources. I will give you people to talk to. And a lot of them have been very, open to wanting that and learning and growing. And sometimes they even bounce around to different, departments to shadow. So I've had some, from the tech department who just wanted to shadow retail and see what it's like to be people facing. So yes, it's definitely there.
Yeah, and I've had that experience. It's actually how I met India, right, was through a colleague by the name of Rashida Dow, who's very prominent in local community work, who said, there's this really great branch manager that I want to connect you with because I think y'all get along, but also there's a lot that you can learn. So mentorship, whether it's formal or informal, is something that certainly I've experienced in the bank directly and have seen in the apprenticeship program with Say Yes of how do we make jobs accessible to a broader range of talent.
Yeah. And even too, kind of going off of just accessibility, information, and resources, we even too do a lot, I'm sure we'll talk about this soon, but we do a lot of money mentors, which are essentially financial education seminars that we do, and we can go out and talk about them in a bunch of different settings. So most recently this past Saturday,
the Saturday Academy.
Yeah, we did the Saturday Academy at the Hamlin Park School, and we simply came up, we had a room, we set up, and we just talked about banking to some kids, to some adults. Some of them didn't really understand, but we're here just to kind of show this, people who look like us can be in these types of, roles and positions, and it's okay to approach a banker, and here's information, here's, resources. So it's always nice.
Yeah, I think definitely representation is definitely important, but we love you guys as our partners. I mean, you guys open up your spaces to us, like the Alumni Network was able to tour the Tech Hub at M&T Bank, and it was so nice. And they also give us a LinkedIn and resume building workshop, which we really enjoy, but it's nice to be able to go out of our office and visit someone else's to see what somebody else's everyday looks like, because it's so crazy. I mean, I would have loved to just be able to be in that space for lunch or something. Was really nice, the arcade area. Yes. I love it. But also just the other supports that you guys give us, which, we're going to get into that too. These Juneteenth church that you guys have, which are amazing. Yes. If you guys want to show it, you can.
Yeah, we can do it.
And then, Ern, if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Sure. We had... They approached us with this plan to get T-shirts made, and they wanted to have something that they could give out to the community. And we had the idea to kind of rally around Juneteenth for this specific project, and we had an idea to come up with a design and ask Idris Wajed to come up with a design. And when we came to the bank and asked if we could do that, they said they had already reached out to Idris and Alexa at Eat Off Art, and they came up with this great design that I believe next month or in the coming weeks, branch members at M&T branches throughout the area are going to be working on with fabric markers to kind of color in the T-shirts and that we can have to pass out on the day of the parade, which for Say Yes Buffalo is just, I would say for the entire Buffalo area that participates in Juneteenth is just such a joyful moment of community. So definitely we all look forward to that every year.
Yes, beautiful, beautiful shirts. I can't wait to have one and decorate mine. And I'm not that best at drawing or coloring in. Okay. I skipped kindergarten. So I'll do my best, or I might have you color it, Liz, because those are beautiful, actually, the way you I might have you color mine, so just
I'll be around. That. You got my number.
But
now.
I'll be excited to pass those out for sure. But we are grateful for the partnership, for things like this. Yeah. You know, we do it better together than separate, especially with both organizations. Like M&T is huge. Yeah. So we're fortunate for it, and we definitely appreciate all the work that you guys do with us. And we love having you at our Saturday Academies too. Financial literacy workshops are definitely important, especially you guys service all ages. Yep. I think that that's necessary too, because usually, you know, people young and old need some financial literacy, and you don't realize it until you take class, and it's like, oh, wow, I did not know that. So I think that's necessary to have, too, along with your other supports and services.
Yeah. I love that. It just makes me think about the community model, right? It's not just you have a branch in a particular region and business as usual, right? It's the way that we approach this work, which is through volunteerism. So through M&T, we get 40 hours of paid volunteer time, which we can use
them for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Maybe my Say Yes volunteer barometer is at the 40-hour mark at this point. But we have that, which folks can use, you know, certainly making these T-shirts, but in board service as well. We have the foundation, so there's giving dollars. There's the financial literacy, and it really is a way of serving people holistically. I think about prior to being in the banking space and how intimidating it was for me and some of the youth that I worked with to think about money. And to go into a bank.
I still fear that.
Yeah. So what a gift it is to sort of be on this side and learn what I can, and be around other people who approach banking in that way. So the Community Impact Week is full circle, man. Like, it started off with an initiative, you know, with just a grassroots effort at the bank, but now it's how do we collectively leverage the 8,000 people in West New York to make an impact. Last year we had 2,000 people engaged in the fall, and what was great about that was that's 20,000 plus volunteer hours to local organizations. And so when Say Yes sort of landed on our lap as how do we engage with them in the spring, Juneteenth is another connection point. You know, M&T shows up. We table, we parade. I know the foundation gives to that as well, has been showing up since the 1980s. So again, the synergy in approaching things holistically is beautiful.
And for me, what kind of hit different was, as you mentioned, we will be doing these shirts. So all of the branches in Western New York are going to be participating in this.
Wow.
So
1 week.
Yeah. So
we'll see a lot of shirts.
You'll see a lot of shirts. And like
parade.
For the people that show up for the Juneteenth, because we always do a table and we have marchers, but we also have a table too. Like, we'll get to see all of Western New York. M&T Bank branches, someone individually did this to help, you know, participate. So I think that's going to be really special.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out the African American Employee Resource Group who are leading the work at the Juneteenth Parade, as well as Tanisha Sykes as well. So again, like, sometimes we just sort of see there's the M&T signs, but it really is people coming together and organizing amongst the day-to-day jobs to show up, which is really special.
So would you guys agree that it's important, I think, for all banks, really, or just, we'll say organizations for that matter, to show up in their community as more than just a bank?
100%. It's crucial. And, like, I think to, like, the Jefferson branch, I spent a lot of time there, especially after, you know, the 514 tragedy. And there's, you know, other branches around, and they have Friday Night Live, which is coming up, by the way, on Jefferson. Marnetta, she heads it, and every Friday in the summer they have like this huge celebration, lots of vendors, lots of table. It's like a huge festival, and small businesses, and like seeing all the other, you know, banks and stuff there would be really great too. So yeah.
Is there a date for that?
I think it starts in July.
In the summer.
So
it's every Friday in July. Okay.
Yep. Every Friday. Yep.
All right, so I just have one final question for you guys.
Go.
So if you guys can tell me, each of you, what does partnership mean to you? And it's a twofold, and why is it so important, especially when it comes to community?
well, I can kind of answer that because I talk about this a lot. I sit on the board of the Greater Jefferson Avenue Business Association, and one thing that we've really been honed in on is just connecting the dots and collaboration. And I know that those words are said so much, but like, what does it look like with, instead of everyone kind of doing their own thing, like how do we just all collectively put our efforts and time and energy into similar things to get us farther, as opposed to kind of, not working together. So that's why partnership is very important to me, no matter what level it is on. If we work together, we're going to get to that end goal quicker. And that's why that's important to me.
Thank you, India. You gave me some time to think about my response because I didn't have one. I would say, and this is for also like the M&T colleagues who are potentially tuning in and seeing this, is when we think about collaboration, it helps us understand our communities better and to ultimately serve them better.
Yes.
So I think it's a gift as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a gift because we get to like breed new ideas, become innovative, and get to our endpoint, as like India mentioned, a lot faster.
Yes.
And real quick, and it's so funny because like we get to do things like this where Liz, who headed this project and has been amazing, and she's the reason why it is where it is for
shout out
community
Liz.
impact. Shout out Liz. But she brought me in, who then we found out, hey, Say Yes is being a part of it. So I'm like, oh, I'm connected to them. Then we brought in Juneteenth, and now that's another connection point. And then the Eat Off Our connection point. You guys were thinking about them. We were thinking about them. They're one of M&T's business clients. I don't know if I can say that, but
Well,
I think you can. No, they are.
We'll edit that out. But when all of those connections and dots start to really connect, I feel like that's when something magical happens, and those are really great moments.
And to the point of magic is great, right? When you're on the receiving end, you're like, this great production, but magic takes so many laborious hours and sacrifices. Yeah. So that's why you need people on board.
Yeah, there's definitely power in numbers, and it's easier to be able to have a team than just it seem like it's on one person or one organization. When we're all essentially we may be thinking of doing the same thing or something close to it. It's like we have more resources, more people, more power, more purpose, more impact. So I think that's definitely important.
I love that.
Yeah, Aaron,
get it
actually,
on a T-shirt.
Right. Okay, let me coin that.
Contract
let me coin that. I have to get a trademark. Aaron, so you can answer the question as well. So why is partnership important?
Because I think the simple answer to that is that you're always stronger with a team. You're never, if you do something alone, even if you achieve something great, and you only share it with yourself, like what's the purpose of that? Like we are always in community with each other. We depend on each other. And I'm just talking about not just Buffalo, but as a world. I'm not trying to get too not trying to get too deep with it.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about our communications team, because we're a great team too. That's what I thought you were talking about.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, any team is more powerful at the sum of its parts than individual contributions. And in the business world and the nonprofit world, it's essential to form as many partnerships as you can, because so many of us want the same things, have intersectionality in our missions, and we can get things done more efficiently from a resources standpoint if we do these things. If we line up where we have those commonalities, where those intersections are, and we can make it stronger, and we can have a greater impact. We can bring more people along, and make the impact that we're all trying to make.
Yeah, I agree. I liked everybody's answer. I definitely agree. So, if you guys can tell us, where can we find you at on social medias, whether it be M&T or your personal endeavors, if you feel like plugging those in, but where can we find you guys at?
Yeah, so for myself, I'm right on LinkedIn, India Walker. So yeah.
30 under 30 recipient. I think that's on there too.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Clarification. I can be found on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way for me to manage and like get connected to folks. So Elizabeth Ramirez, 1 or Elizabeth Ramirez on LinkedIn. There are ways.
Okay, and then is there a M&T site that's not like the regular site? Is there a different site that we can go to check you guys?
Yeah, so I'm located specifically at the Broadway branch, but a lot of people kind of know me from Jefferson, but I have some really great people. Nicole Magby is the branch manager there, and she's also awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say I would defer to the M&T website. There are details around what we just discussed, including like M&T Foundation, and that's where you can get that type of information. There's financial education resources and a portal that's just awesome. So I would defer to the M&T main website to get that info.
Yep.
And then, so do you guys have any opportunities available as far as like interns or apprenticeships or just hiring in general?
Yeah, I think that, like Liz mentioned, I know if you go to mtb.com/careers, there are always open positions. I do know as a market there are lots of open positions. Okay. And I think that the apprenticeship and internship programs might be starting up very soon. Okay. So I'm not sure if that portal's still open, but we can definitely see.
All right, so if you guys are listening, make sure you guys go to their website to check out what opportunities they have. Aaron, where can we find you at?
I'm at sayisbuffalo.org. Also on LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you guys know where to find me. Make sure you guys follow our Instagram page, our Facebook at sayisbuffalo.org. And then you can go on our website at sayisbuffalo.org as well. And we'll catch you next time. This was great. Thank you guys.